disclaimer, this is not a blind commentary. I've already seen the show at least 1 billion times, believe me, I've checked. This is intended to be a sort of commentary or a review of the show while I'm watching it. For copyright reasons, I'm not going to be showing the show on screen like usual reaction videos do. This is good for 2 reasons. 1, if you want to hear my commentary alongside your viewing of the show to keep track of where I'm at in the episode, you can. Just play your episode when the countdown timer is up. And 2, I can give my thoughts on the show much faster this way, without much editing. So without further ado, let's start the episode. Hello everyone, this is my commentary of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Episode 1, The Boy in the Iceberg. Okay, so we got the intro here. Every time I see this intro, I always get so excited. I know I've seen the show so many times, it's kind of absurd at this point, but every time I see this, it's like iconic, and I love the animation in this intro. It gives you literally everything that you need to know about basically the world and what the story is going to be and everything. It's all nice. It's actually pretty crazy. Like, you see this come out of nowhere back in 2005, and it's just so different from anything Nickelodeon has ever put out before in all of Nickelodeon's history. And yeah, it's crazy. And so yeah, it's my commentary. It's kind of like a commentary / review thing. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say about this. It's just the intro of the show. Avatar: The Last Airbender, created by Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko. Book 1, Water. Chapter 1, The Boy in the Iceberg. Love how this enters with the blue. That blue looks pretty good. Really cool intro of the icebergs and stuff like that. I love how it gets really quiet here, and we get our introduction to Sokka and Katara, 2 of our main characters. And I love how they set this up. You see them on this canoe, and you don't really know, their status, just by seeing this image of them on the canoe. Very rinky-dink canoe, so it lets you know that, they're peasants, and I like that subtle visual. And the dialogue lets us know exactly who they are, without telling us. It's really great, and you're gonna hear me say that a lot throughout this entire thing. I'm gonna be basically saying, oh, this is really great, and I love this part. I can't help it. The show is amazing. God, man, the animation here is also really incredible. Just love the backgrounds. The backgrounds, at least for these first few episodes, they kind of look like they're done in the style of 90s anime, Japanese anime. So I'm sure that was intentional, but it's really cool. It's got that paint brush type look to it. Now we got Sokka and Katara going into that current, almost like that was destined to happen. Yeah. There's always stuff like that. There's always these little details in the show that's ooh, I wonder if that water current happened because it was, nature's way of getting Aang out of the iceberg. Stuff like that is really subtle, and you might argue oh, well, doesn't that take away from the character's choices? I don't think it does, because it's still the characters doing it and it's their choices, and we still see good and bad choices from the characters. So yeah, I love this dialogue here with Katara. Man, the water animation here is just unbelievable. Some of the best water animation I've ever seen. And this is the TV budget. It's pretty amazing. The iceberg falling right there. It's incredible. Oh my god, look at that water. I think Ki-Hun Ryu animated this sequence. He worked for JM Animation back in the day, and his style is really, really great. It's got a lot of detail in the clothing, a lot of character expressions, and great effects animation. And here we have the Iceberg. The Iceberg. Love it. Love the music here. Jeremy Zuckerman, he is a master. He's a master composer. And just, I love how this has this really epic feel. I don't know what, like, instruments those are. I don't know if that's like a horn or a trumpet or anything like that, but it's like, oh, it sounds awesome. I love this character animation here with Sokka, Katara. The little detail of them running on the ice, little ice floats, I guess you can say. Boom! I said boom to the explosion. The explosion of air. And wow, that's a huge beam of light. Love that angle. Like, just love how this has really, really great directing on it. Feels very film-like. And here's the introduction to the greatest character of all time. Zuko. And Nairo. Who's basically everyone's favorite character, except mine, because mine's Zuko. I don't know, like, I just love watching this. Like, we get so many glimpses in these early episodes of, like, what's gonna happen later, and, like, once we find out more about the characters in, like, later episodes, we see how they become these characters and stuff like that. I really love it. Great setup for Zuko. Now we have a threat. We have a threat within 6.5 minutes. Well, we've already had a threat through the dialogue in the beginning with the Fire Nation, but now we have a true threat. I just love how epic this feels. I don't know, like, there's not really much I can say in these earlier episodes because they are really setting everything up. But, like, it doesn't mean it's any less great than it already is. Like, really great animation here. Here comes the earliest bit of comedy. I love it. I love this little detail of Aang, like, using airbending to shoot himself up. And, like, Sokka reacts to it. He's like, oh my god, and he, like, flinches and he goes backwards, but, like, he doesn't go, how did you do that? Like, that comes later. Like, very shortly, in, like, a couple seconds. But, like, I love how he just gets up with airbending, and Sokka just, he freaks out. He's like, what the hell? Like, how the frig did he do that? Yeah, the detail on Appa in this is amazing. Like, you could really tell that they were like, oh, we gotta sell the animation. Thank you, Ryu, for animating this, because it looks phenomenal. Yeah, I always, like, you'd think that I would get nostalgic for the show, and I kind of do every now and then, because, like, I did watch this when it premiered, but, like, I don't get too nostalgic often, but, like, usually when I watch this first episode, I kind of do, because, like, I remember laughing so hard at these moments with Sokka and, like, Appa's snot and stuff like that. I was pretty young. 2005. So long ago. I love that these episodes, like these first few episodes, they really make Aang, and like, not even just Aang, Sokka and Katara as well, like, they make them really likable, and like, I don't know, like, they just feel like real people with the dialogue, and the animation is really good, and the music's great, and the animation, I already said that, but just the characterization and everything, just, it makes you really, really want to follow these characters. And, you could have like a really great story, and if your characters aren't super likable, it kind of doesn't make you want to follow the story as much. Like, it could be a good story, and the characters could be okay, but just you might not want to follow it as much. But this show just executes it, in my opinion, perfectly. Like, you have these characters that seem pretty innocent, off the bat. You have some character flaws too, but pretty innocent for the most part. But like, and I think that's really important because it not only does it like make you want to follow the story more, but it makes it accessible to kids and adults, and that's a good thing. Like adults could get a lot of things out of the show that kids wouldn't, and kids probably have more fun and stuff like that. But I love this. I love the cloth animation too. Like I love the scene where Zuko's out on the deck of the ship. Dialogue setting up the fact that like Zuko's father and great grandfather and all them were looking for the Avatar. So it's like, ooh, what's going on there? Set up. And it's paced really well too. Like it really just feels like it's gives you just the right amount of information in the smallest amount of time, and it gives everything else room to breathe. And that is a testament to the writing. And a lot of people talk about like, oh, this show is really well written. It's like, I think that there's a lot of people out there that don't know what that means. Like they kind of just go, oh, the writing's good because I think the show's good. So if I think the show's good, that means the writing's good. The writing is like how things are executed, how they flow naturally in the story, and the dialogue and decisions that are made that make the audience like the show, pacing and everything. The writing is basically the blood of the show. If the writing's bad, the show's probably not gonna work. I love this flashback setup for the Storm episode. We find out what the hell this is. Yeah, the show constantly has like set up for so many things. I love how not Aang, Katara sees these tattoos, and it just adds like this a subtle bit of culture. Like it makes the world feel real when Katara is like looking at Aang's tattoos in amazement. So it's like, wow. Like she's amazed, the audience gets amazed. Like if she's amazed, then like the audience must be like, wow, like what does this mean? Like what are those tattoos? Does that mean he's the Avatar or what is it? And we find out later it's because he's an airbending master, but still. I always get choked up at that scene where, Aang's like, extinct? Like, my people are extinct? He's so innocent. This innocent little kid has no idea what the hell happened. No idea that it's been 100 years. And there's a scene, like, in the second episode, like, really early on in the second episode that's basically just like that. It's like, he says something so innocent, and it's like a comedic line, but like I feel bad because like me being an audience member, I know what happened to the other airbenders. So what's Sokka's reaction to that? Great sound design too. Like I have to give props to that. Like Benjamin Wynn's sound design is really good, even this early on. Like it only gets better and better, but like it's still really, really great in this first episode. That's like 1 billion years old at this point.
Tara, try not to put all your hopes in this boy.
But he's special. I can tell. I sense he's filled with
I also feel bad for like the water tribe here, the Southern Water Tribe, because like you see that there's basically nobody there, because like everyone's either been like picked off by the Fire Nation, or they've been set off to fight in the war. Like it's pretty depressing, and it doesn't make it known in this episode. Like you find that out later. So when you look back at it, you're like, oh man, that's really depressing. All this visual right here, when Ira was talking about like the breath of fire and everything, you can see that sun. Like you could see the sun in the background, and it's totally intentional because the sun is what powers firebending, which is really great. Subtle foreshadowing. We'll actually find that out later. All these little details, and I know I said this earlier, but like all these little details, like make you know that they really, really did know what the hell they were doing with the show. Like, it's very common knowledge that they planned the show to be 3 seasons from the very beginning. But like when you're watching it, especially as many times as I have, you really see all the details. You're like, wow, that's there, and that gets picked up upon. That's really cool. And it's not just like something through dialogue. It doesn't even have to be like that. It could just be some visual. Oh, this kid, I gotta pee.
On you to be the men of this tribe, and that means no party breaks.
But I really gotta go.
Okay, who else has to go?
Have you seen Aang? Grandpa said he disappeared over
These episodes do a really good job of showing the childhood innocence of the characters. So like later when the crazy shit happens, when the crazy shit goes down, especially in Sozin's Comet finale, which is my favorite part of Avatar ever, it makes you really care.
What's wrong with you? We don't have time for fun and games with the
They're not just likable characters, they're also just really layered, and I like that.
You're kidding, right?
Of how they basically just show you that Aang is running away from like his responsibility, basically. Like Sokka just starts talking about the war, and then he's just like, "Oh, penguin, sorry, goodbye." I like that. It's showing us and not telling us.
Hey, come on, little guy. Wanna go swimming?
This is a really cute scene. Like I'm not usually into like, oh, that's cute, but I think this is a really cute scene with like Aang just trying to catch an otter penguin. Which is, it's a little detail that I didn't mention, but like you see in this first episode, besides Appa, of course, but like you see the like different types of animals. It's like these are penguins, but it's like they're not penguins. Like they have like 4 flippers, and it lets you know like, hey, this might be based on real world cultures and stuff like that, but it is a fantasy world, and yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. And here we have the setup of the season. We are going to find you a master, Katara.
I've never left home before. Well, you think about it. But in the meantime, can you teach me to catch one of these penguins? Okay, listen closely, my young.
This is a good moment too. Like, we see Katara and Aang. It's like the first true interaction. We saw them in the past like 18, 19 minutes, but like this is the first time we really see the beginning, I think, of their relationship that grows into a romantic relationship. And I don't ship characters. I just don't see the point. Whatever happens, I don't care. As long as it makes sense in the story and it's not shoehorned in, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I don't ship characters, but I really like these two together, I guess like that's kind of contradictory. It's like, oh, I don't ship characters, but I do ship these two. It's like you could call it whatever you want, but I think that these two are adorable together, and I think it works very well with the story. And it's not super focused upon either, so it's not distracting or anything. The first time we see the Fire Nation ship, and I love that later in the show we see how this ship got here, which is really cool. Once again, shows planting details, and it makes the world feel real, makes it feel rich, gives you just the right amount of information at the right amount of time. It's a really good scale shot of that, like the smokestack, the flag. I like it. I like a lot of things in the show. You're probably gonna hear me say that, and I already said that earlier too, but just really, really love this show. It's my favorite thing ever. Favorite piece of entertainment. These background paintings, I said it earlier, but like these background paintings have like that 90s anime feel to it. Like it was done on actual paper. Like it was actual painting. I don't think it was. I think it was all digital, even at this point, but still.
All over the world, even in the Fire Nation. I've never seen any wolves. Aang, how long were you in that iceberg? I don't know.
See, this bit of information here could have been given to the audience very early on, but instead the episode decided to make the characters likable and for you to get invested into what's going on until this moment. Like, this is the moment where they said, where the writers were like, you know what, let's make Aang come to this realization now. And that is a good sign of good pacing and writing.
I did get to meet you.
They really could have told you. Like, they could have told you very early in this episode that, Aang's been frozen for 100 years. I mean, like, we put that together, but, like, it's a good way to show his reaction after 21 minutes of character development. And this, I like to think of this moment, like, where Aang and Katara set off that flare. I like to think of this moment as the show's way of telling you, like, there are consequences to the character's actions. Because, like, this show being so different from other cartoons is just, like, it's really needed to like, that is really needed for this. It's to show you that, like, yeah, this is going to be kind of like a movie, and there's going to be consequences to actions, however little they may be. I love it. And I love this little detail of Zuko not knowing that Aang is 12 because he's so far away with the telescope that he thinks, like, oh, he must be 100 years old. I can't see him from up here. So that was the end of the first episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that's my commentary. I'm gonna be trying to, like, see if I can make these more review-based. You know, I'm still keeping the format, but I want to see if I can squeeze more talking into each episode, which I think I will, because as the story goes along, the episodes become a lot more interesting. So yeah, we got the credits here. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. That was my first episode commentary review thing. Hope you liked it, and I hope it didn't bore the crap out of you. And if you did, link this with you watching the episode on your own. Hope you enjoyed that too. So thanks for watching.